Morning everybody and welcome to this week's Q&A. Going to be a short one-ish this week because I'm recording this early Saturday morning for two reasons. Firstly, early Friday morning, beg your pardon, for two reasons. Firstly, I'm working tomorrow. I've got a job, I'm off to Wales. I've got a pick up from Dunstable Superdrug, so it'll be perfume. And then I think I've got to pick up some kind of exhibition stand thing from Wickham, and then I'm off to Wales. And then I'll drop at midday and I'll probably be home. Very unlikely to get a job out of Wales midday. I'll tape it for you, just to let you know how it goes. And the other reason is because I messed up, I booked today's job, picked it up last night, and it's got to go down to Salisbury. And it wasn't until I sort of accepted it, I realised it had a 2 o'clock booking time, which is why they bit my hand off. And when I spoke to Al about it, he went, "Did they?" He said, "Yeah, they rang me with that job." I went, "No, thanks." So I've kind of lost my morning, which has annoyed me slightly, but I've got to do this sometimes. So I'm making the most of my time, and I'm doing it now. So it's a little bit short. Ever sorry. I've done the cut-off point at the second video of the waiting game. So if you've commented on that, guys, it'll be here next week. So what do we do this week? I had this. The Alternative Courier Awards 2022. I leave me pen again. I always do this. The Alternative Courier Awards 2022. I just had the idea, and couldn't tell you as usual, and just pinged it out. So I thought about it. Well, let's go to you first. Marion Radu says, "Good idea. Thank you very much, Radu. He likes content as well. Cheers, mate." Shane Hardy says, "What's the prize for winning the award? I reckon you make some little key rings with an award on it." See no reason why not. That sounds quite reasonable, doesn't it? Like, you know. Luke Van Gayup says, right, now this is what's getting me thinking. Award category. The worst job for the most chaotic, awful, wheels came off job of the year. Reckon I remember the shot on that one. I think that's nailed on, Luke, and I'd like to hear it as well. This is kind of where the problem lies, you see. Beth Hale says, best worst forky. Hen's Tooth Award for the most generous shipper. Pays £1 a mile, 7 miles. Shipper the most likely to take the mickey. That shouldn't be on here. Award for the job that's most clearly not haulage. Yeah, so this is a house removal you sent me to. You're asking me to actually deconstruct a chemical plant. Darn cat, excuse me, saying. Tony S says, on the worst job he's done, Hermes in Swindon, 4-hour queue to unload, was 8 months ago, but still won't ever do that job ever again. So here's what I'm thinking. I think I'm probably a little bit too late to start the Courier Awards 2022, the Alternative Courier Awards 2022, when you bear in mind it's the 7th of October. So I think what I'll do is, at this point, I'm just going to tout for categories. I really like, and also I want it to be a bit like, what's the alternative Grammys or the alternative ones where they turn up, well, they give out the awards for the worst film. My favourite one of that being, I think it's hats off to her, was Halle Berry won the award for Catwoman in worst performance or something like that, and she actually, the Raspberries or something like that, and she actually turned up and accepted the award. And when she did her acceptance speech, she really did a bad, hammed up version. I thought, that girl's got a sense of humour. You've got to give it her. You give her the award for being worst actress, and she turns up and accepts it. I think the only one who ever has. So I love her for that, which is great. Never watched the film though. So I think what we'll do is we'll come up with 4 or 5 categories, and then next year. What I'll do is every week, if one of you writes in on the Q&A and you go, I just had a nightmare job, or I just had a great fork truck driver, and then we'll put them into categories, and then at the end of the year, I might see if I can get you on there. Don't forget RMIT and Neptune Couriers. Let's do them a little link if we can. I don't remember which one it is. I think it's that one. Might be that one. He's got his own channel out there, and he's doing a thing. I'm going to nick his idea, basically. Where he's getting people to comment on their week, and they're doing like a sort of a video on it on the phone, send it on a WhatsApp, and it comes up. So what I thought is, if I nick all the ideas, if I write down all the ideas, and then at the end of the year, contact you guys and go, look, you're in the category of you've won the award for best fork truck, you know, you had the best fork truck driver this year, would you do me a little video and we can do a thing at the end? I'm a little bit late for this year, I think. I could do something, but it'd be a bit Mickey Mouse. So, but in the meantime, let's see if we can get the categories now down. And I think I'm definitely going to go with Luke's. I love the way it's phrased. Most chaotic, awful, wheels came off job of the year. I love that. So we're going to underline that there. Lovely. Got a pen. Amazon. These are really good, these pens. They are gel impact pens. And you get them in a box off Amazon and they're about 15 quid for 12. And the amount of, I've got a little game I play. The amount of people that go, I love the pen, and at which point I go, you just won the prize. Anybody who says they love the pen gets to keep the pen. You know the guilt that comes with, no, I can't keep it. I'll give you some money for it. Mate, it cost me about £1.30. It's fine, keep the pen. But, yeah, good pens. Right, so what videos did we all do this week? Also, we did the jobs on the CX ones the shippers don't want. And the question is, are the jobs that ping up on the CX just the ones that shippers don't want or not? And as TC Services said, he says, morning Pete. He said, I think you've answered the question yourself. He said, I do work for a few shippers who I know they don't have any vans, so every job they put on the CX is like the job they get from their customer. On the other hand, I also do work for a large company who have loads of vans but have contracts they need to be done, so we'll post it on CX. I do wonder if they make a loss on these jobs, but money on the big contracts. And I think that's possibly true. So, Van on the Run goes into some more information. We just come down. Before we go there, Lee Westcott says, he says, can you rate an individual job on the Courier Exchange so other people know not to go and do that delivery? They know it's a good one or a bad one accordingly. No, you can't. It would be difficult to do, basically, because it's very subjective. Some couriers might go, oh, that was an easy job. Other guys will go, that job's a nightmare. Also, secondly, the same job sometimes the same job pings up over and over and over again. We've got prisons going out of bookers, comes up all the time. Sometimes it's just a one-off. Someone rings them and they go, why do you need some pallets moved? So they do it so it's very difficult to rate a job if it's only ever going to exist once. And also, if you've got a job which you don't want to move, the last thing you want to do is tell everybody it's a terrible job. So, you'll catch somebody once and then the next time you'll catch somebody else and you'll catch somebody else. But no, there's no way around that one. You can do the feedback system where you can rate how good the courier delivered or how good the shipper was to communicate. But as for the job itself, not really. Van on the Run, as he goes into this, he said, shippers with their own vans tend to keep local stuff themselves but put longer jobs on out of area on the CX. They only put on local jobs on the CX if they're really busy. Due to this, I find when the CX is quiet, it tends to be mostly longer jobs I do due to out of area places and very few local jobs. Thing is, when it's quiet, I want to stay local, but it doesn't work due to the above reason. So, and Ian C11 Yan says, that's exactly what I do with our vans. I keep them in the key areas where our customers do business to and from, unless it's a wait and return or something tricky like awkward last week where I went to Paris. Yeah, you're working too hard, mate. I speak to friends. You need to relax, man. You got this. It's cool. But yeah, I think he's doing a lot of the bands. So they're doing, move a PA system somewhere, wait for 5 hours, and then move it back again. But if you get paid for it, and I'm sure the man knows far more than me, so good luck, mate. I'm sure you know what you're doing. Shane Hardy says, if shippers didn't put the jobs they didn't want on there, then you'd have drivers complaining there isn't enough work. So basically, it's a lose-lose situation. This is the thing, isn't it, really? And also, the one I did, actually, the end of the awards thing, the one where I was waiting, is probably the worst job I've ever done. In the fact that I was at the collection point for an hour and a half, despite the fact the 3 pallets were sitting in front of me. Then they loaded them. Then they went, we haven't put the stickers on, so can you open up again? Then they went, we haven't actually sealed the boxes, so then can you open up again? Then I was waiting for the paperwork. Then I got the paperwork. Then I drove it to Mini, beware OX4. I got to Mini at 4 o'clock. They let me through the gate at 7 o'clock, and I was still then, I had to go to the compound and wait to get unloaded. I got out of there at 8. So my waiting time on that job was 5.5. Well, I was with loading and unloading. It took 5.5 hours. Absolute shocker. And I've tried to get hold of them to ask them about waiting time, but it keeps going to the gift gaff answer phone. Fried repeatedly. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to put it on the invoice, send it through and see what happens. But it was one of them things. I got to Mini just as the shift change came in. And the reason I was late getting to Mini was because it took them an hour and a half to load it. If I'd have got there in time, it might have been quicker, but it wasn't. Oh well, it happens. What else have we got? S.A. Smith, he says, my very first job on the CX was dropping over a ton of hardwood flooring, all handballed off the back of my van to several businesses. I had to split the pallets, and my first drops were at the bottom of the heaviest pallet. Of course they were. Total joke, but I got paid £240, including that. So after fuel, I still made a good day's money out of it for the van. You see what I mean? It comes back to saying other people might go, that's an awful job. And you went, well, yeah, it wasn't a great job, but I got paid for it. And the other thing is also, when it's your first job, when you start, you don't really know what's required of you. When I started in a Luton van, I remember doing all kinds of things. Can you move these boxes over here? Yeah, okay. Can you move, we have to take all of the decking out of my front room, through the kitchen, through the hallway, through the muddy lawn, and then into the back of the van. We've got 40 cases of it. Okay. Because I didn't know any better. I mean, you ring them up and go, can I have some handball? And they go, yeah. So, and to be honest with you, in comparison to doing markets that weren't making any money, I'd say that's a good job. Steve at SDC Services says, after several years on the CX, I still get caught out. So do I, Steve. I went to Mini, and this afternoon I'm going to Salisbury at 2 o'clock because I forgot to read the booking time because I'm a moron. Why you listen to me, I don't know. I'm grateful, just confused. So, we also did one last week. We got a few catch-ups on this one on Moody fork truck drivers. Rio says, I always carry a Kit Kat or similar. Every forky loves a present. I'll try that. You know, I don't know if it'll work though. Sort of, do you want a Kit Kat, mate? Celebration? Ain't gonna get you unloaded any faster, son. Have a chocolate anyway. Have a hobnob. I always thought if I ever get the position, which I hopefully will do soon, Truck 5 is now on the road. Although Truck 5 is down the road, but Truck 4 is down at the moment because we recruited a driver. It didn't work out for him, bless him. So got to find another one. But yes, Truck 6 should be coming at Christmas or spring, and then hopefully I'm going to spend a bit of time trying to get more new business, more our own customers. And I thought the trick I'm going to try is to go round with like a packet of Jaffa cakes and a packet of hobnobs and sort of go, can I see your transport manager? Or who does your vans? Jaffa cakes or hobnobs? Which one do you want? There you go. Have both. Give us a contract. I'll let you know how it goes. And also, hopefully, I'll be able to learn a little bit more on the computer side of things. And when I learn the computer side of things, I'll stick this on there as well. So you'll see, a peek behind the velvet curtain there. And Mark Everson says, Pete, this made me smile. He said a driver went into a cash and carry and the fork truck driver got the hump with him and said, are we ringing your boss? And the driver said to him, when you do, mine's the second name on the door. The fork truck driver didn't know what to say. I suppose you could say the same about me. Well, all of us, all self-employed, aren't we? Always be self-employed. That way, if you work for someone else, you have to pay their wages too. Right. The wise guys this week. TC Services says, I've got a question for the wise guys. What do the different colour icons mean when I click on who's nearby function on the CX app? Now, I don't know, but I think red means not working, orange means working but loaded, and green means working and available, I think. But I'm not 100% sure. So, guys, if you get back to me whether right or wrong, and we can go back to TC Services on that one. Once I get behind the computer, I might have a better idea. Although, does anybody really click the I'm available thing? Probably everybody bar me. Probably why I'm getting less jobs. Dropbeats S says, Pete, I'm thinking of joining the exchange with a small van, Citroen Berlingo. What's the better money, short runs or long distance? I will do 12-hour days. I'll do you a link, my friend. I've done this video before on different ways to run. There is no right way. It's kind of whatever suits you best. It's kind of a suck it and see situation. I've known guys in small vans make an absolute fortune. We used to have one guy, I said before, he'd only do one job a week. But he'd pick up in London and drive it to Newcastle. Then he'd kip in the van overnight, and then the next day he'd pick up in Newcastle and drive it to London. How he got it, I don't know. And he made enough money in those 2 days to cover the entire week. I've known other people just sort of go bop all around town. So, but there is a video on before on different ways to run, so I'll do you a link. But the best way to do it is to just hold your nose and jump. Get the van, try everything. Try short runs, try medium runs, try up the road and back, try whatever, and then at the end of the day, find out the one that works the best for you. Everyone does it their own way. So, miscellaneous. TC services. It says, hi Pete, if you're in a truck, then a delivery... Oh, right, we're on the hospitals, yeah. If you're in a truck, a delivery to hospital would be easy. But in a small van, it's completely different, as you usually have to deliver to the exact department, which can take you ages just to find. Taking numerous lifts and walking long corridors, which can easily add half the time to the job. I think shippers know this, but won't say, as they know the price will be much higher. I've had both. It kind of depends on the hospital. I've had hospitals in Oxford where I've actually had to park the van up, take the pallets off, and then it was like half a mile. I had to drag it underneath the hospital and then up a roundy ramp thing, and then into a lift, and then up and then along and then down a corridor and then another lift. It was crazy. I've also had ones where you've got to drop off where's the one in Bristol? Bristol's a nightmare because you're in a van, there's nowhere to park, and it's got a multi-storey car park. You basically have to... I've done Bristol and I've done... what's the one in London on Whitechapel? Royal London, I think it is. There the Royal London, they've got a loading bay around the back, but I was told to park in the ambulance bays, and in Bristol I had to park in the ambulance bays. But when you come back, if they don't give you a ticket, you go, mate, it was like, this is cancer medicine and it needs to be there now. So I would appeal it. I'd go, right, here's the situation. Also, I don't want to hospitals. Do a little link on that one. Yeah, get yourself a little laminated card to put in the fact, tell them what you're doing and put your phone number on. Gives you half a chance. Cons says, I'm a lorry inspector. He said, it's not all for the money, believe me. I'm sure it probably isn't, mate. I've been doing it for over 9 years now. He says, LEEA is a company that can make you competent as they supply training courses if anyone's interested. I wonder what you actually have to have ahead of time to be able to... Can anyone just qualify as a lorry engineer, or do you have to actually understand pneumatics or hydraulics or some kind of engineering diploma degree or something like that? Or... Don't know. Interesting. Cons, if you're listening, a bit more information, please. Be lovely. Chris Jones says, right, yeah. He said, how are you getting on with doing the jobs in the clean air zones, Pete? Do you think you will upgrade to Euro 6 and eventually, as most cities are going to bring it in? It's comical, isn't it? It's a bit like Syndrome in The Incredibles. He says, he's going to sell all of his stuff, and he says, and as a result of which, when everybody has all the stuff, everybody will be super. And when everyone is super, no one is. And it's a bit like the clean air zones. As soon as every town and city in the country gets a clean air zone, then there's no clean air zone. You just pay to drive. It's just another road tax. I will do a separate video. I'll let you know on... It's kind of comical. We have been fined twice for going into London at £500 a pop. But I'll go into details and let you know what I think of it and how it's going. I think it's worth, people might be interested. And the Seam says, mate, I was going on the CX, but after watching your video regarding non-payment, I stopped dreaming. Mate, don't stop dreaming. CX is fine. I've been doing it 4 years now, and I'm now running 5 lorries. Most people pay. 95% of people pay. I think we did our disavowed debt last month, and the only people that did pay, you've got to bear in mind, we're turning over a few quid with these trucks. He says, I got it down to 200 quid, which is unheard of. But most people pay. The biggest problem you've got is waiting for payment. But it's not so bad. As long as you know how to book jobs and not book them out of Salisbury at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which is why I'm sitting here. Mind you, talking to you guys, drinking tea, I can think of worse things to do. So, in conclusion, I'm off to Wales tomorrow. I'll video, I think, see how it goes, and suggested categories. So if anybody's got any idea for the Alternative Courier Awards 2023, I'm going to take the categories, I'm going to put them down, and every time that we get a comment that pertains to one of those categories, I'll copy and paste it, and at the end of the year, I'll either get you on a sort of do-it-yourself, if you like, or I might even put on a Spangly jacket and do an award ceremony, what the heck. So anyway, thanks guys. I'm going to go and get this all uploaded now, make me floss, and hit the road. Time to take care, take money.